Husband cheated on me with my sister, but toxic family sided with her. Years passed. They contacted me, begging for a kidney to save my sister. You think family will always have your back? After my sister ruined my marriage, I faced the impossible choice of saving her, or letting her suffer. All was fine until about 8 months ago, when my sister, Emily, 28, a female, returned to our hometown after residing in Florida since she was 18. Her long-term lover dumped her and relocated to another city, leaving her impoverished. The circumstances surrounding their breakup remain mainly unknown. When my sister returned, she revealed that he had been cheating with men. I didn't know him very well, but that seemed far-fetched. I only met the guy 3 times because my sister would only come home for Christmas, and normally stayed for 3 to 4 days. He accompanied her twice during their 5-year relationship. I met him again 3 years ago, when my husband and I paid them a visit for a day, while on vacation. He didn't strike me as the type of guy who would have a double life and leave Emily with nothing. I tried to contact him once but was blocked, so I let it go. Emily went back in with my parents, Kelly, 55, a female, and Jimmy, 56, a man. For the first month she was here, she struggled to find a job, so I suggested that Ethan assist her. He is a higher up in his firm and assumed he would have some clout. He did, and she was able to secure a post in his department. This is a job within her field. My sister and I have never been particularly close. She is the golden child, at least according to our mother, and our father has no spine when it comes to her. It's not overtly clear, it's just a million subtle details. For example, when we turned 16, we both acquired automobiles, but mine was an 8-year-old Dodge Neon, and hers was a 2-year-old Mitsubishi Eclipse. Her dance rehearsals, costumes and contests have cost thousands of dollars over the years. Some of the competitions were 6 or 7 hours away, and they didn't blink an eye. Meanwhile, when I asked for $50 for a volleyball or basketball camp at our local college, they gave it to me, but you'd think I was asking them to build me my own arena. What annoyed me the most was when I was 17. I went out with my partner, lost track of time, and arrived 15 minutes after curfew. They stole my automobile for a month just for that. The following year, when my sister arrived home 2 hours late and smelling like pot, she received a nasty talking to. I wasn't really sad when she left for college and chose to stay in Florida. Despite this, she began spending more and more time at our place, which I felt was wonderful at first, because it seemed like she was trying to be more connected to me. Then I noticed that she and Ethan were becoming increasingly familiar. They would discuss seemingly anything at length. They developed their own inside jokes. If I tried to include myself, they would respond, "Just a work thing." When I asked my husband about it, he simply stated that they had a lot in common and were working on various projects together at work. The first major red flag was that, after approximately a month, she would be at our house when I returned home from work. Ethan and I have distinct work schedules. While he works 8 to 4:30, I work 10 to 7. This happened rather often. When I inquired about it, I was usually told, "We had some work stuff to do." 2 months ago, I discovered something that made me question my own sanity. Every day before I leave for work, I make the bed. I always position the open side of the pillowcase toward the edge of the bed. When I arrived home that day, Emily had passed. She ate with us and then returned to my parents' place. As we climbed into bed, I noticed that 2 of the pillows had their cases turned towards the middle. I asked my hubby if he'd been in bed today. He looked surprised but responded, "No." "Why do you ask?" I responded, "The bed's not the same as I made it this morning." He said I must have been mistaken because no one was in the bed. I searched through his phone and laptop without his knowledge and discovered nothing. However, they worked together for 8 hours every day, 5 days a week, and then hung out after work. Why do they need to text? I felt as though I was losing my mind. 2 weeks ago my folks invited us to dinner. Everything was going good until I noticed something. Ethan was only going by when Emily casually grabbed his arm. He looked at her, and she mumbled something. They pressed their foreheads together for only a second. Ethan jolted up and continued walking. Emily then simply looked at me, smiled, and returned to her task. I am not an idiot. I understand that this is a mountain of red flags. I really don't want to believe this. I've been in love with my hubby since I was 21. I planned a weekend trip to the city. I was going to ask him about things there. I hoped this wasn't what I was thinking. Update 1. You survived, but my world has been decimated. We went on a weekend adventure. It was a lovely Friday night. We drank, danced, and were personal. We had further plans the next day, and I nearly said nothing. I thought he couldn't be doing both with her and with me. I was so incorrect. We were almost ready to start our Saturday, and I questioned him directly if he was having an affair with my sister. He teared up and answered, yes, he was. My heart sank. I asked him why. He apologized, saying he didn't want this to happen. They simply clicked, and before he knew it, they were kissing. Then more. I inquired whether he had been sleeping with her in our bed before I returned home from work. He simply turned his head in shame. I left. At that moment, all I had with me was my handbag, and I drove home alone. He took an Uber and arrived many hours later with my other belongings. He attempted to apologize, but I did not acknowledge him. Through my tears, he packed a bag and went to a motel. The following day, I informed my folks. They already knew. They apologized for what happened and informed me that Emily had departed last night and might not be back for a few days. I'm certain she went to stay with Ethan. That all occurred 3 months ago. Our divorce is almost finalized. Ethan found an apartment to rent right away, and Emily joined him. I am solely contacting him for our divorce. He originally told me I could only get the house and the savings. I believe this was guilt talking. Then, after a few days, he announced that we would have to split the house. I knew it was Emily in his ear. I had previously transferred everything from the savings account to a new one, so there was no fight. Just like that, 9 years of my existence had vanished. He has no idea what he's getting into. She is a narcissist, and will eventually discard him. Emily has been quite harsh throughout this. A few days after I found out, she mentioned me in a Facebook post. It was a selfie of her and him, with him kissing her cheek from behind. The caption said, "Feeling loved." It was terrible. I logged out of my account and deleted the app from my phone. She texted me about an hour later saying, "Sorry sis, I didn't mean to tag you. No hard feelings. I hope we can still be close. You'll meet your soulmate someday too." I blocked her. I blocked her on everything I could think of. My parents have not been much better. When I told them I was no longer going to contact Emily and Ethan, they tried to be sympathetic at first. My mother looked at me and said, "I'm sorry this happened. It shouldn't have happened this way, but your sister deserves to be happy too. You'll meet someone, and then we can put this all behind us." I became enraged and informed them about what Emily had tagged me in and the text she sent me. My mother replied, "Well, you shouldn't be on that stuff anyway." My father hasn't said anything this entire time. He just sits there. I once asked him what he thought, and he simply answered, "I agree with your mother," before walking out of the room. I'm also cutting off any communication with them. The house will be sold soon, and I'll be moving to a different state. I'm not informing my family where or when. I haven't told them this is my plan. I just finished all of them. I wish them the worst. Update 2. Hello everybody. I realize it's been 4 years since I last updated everyone, but we had a huge event occur. I'll start by providing an update on myself. I am recently engaged. It took a lot of treatment to get me back out there. I began dating right soon after settling in Minnesota. I went on a decent first date, and then discovered what an annoying ass he was. I swore off guys forever after that. That's when I went to therapy to go with the trauma of my husband and sister's betrayal, as well as my parents' desertion. After a difficult year, I met Austin, a 37-year-old man. Yes, he shares the same first name as my father. LOL. But Austin is beautiful. He is a chef. He and his fraternal twin brother Jack own and operate a successful restaurant and bar. I'm incredibly excited to start my future with Austin. Enough about me. Now I'd like to tell you about my family's audacity. I had no contact for almost 9 months after I left. I didn't tell them where I moved. I only told a few of my closest friends and cousins. One day I returned home to find a wedding invitation in the mail. The occasion was Ethan and Emily's wedding. The invitation had a disgusting photo of them cuddling in a sunflower field. There was also a letter from my parents. It basically read like this: "You need to forgive and put all of this behind us. We know things didn't go the best, but we're a family, and families work through problems." They also stated Emily wanted me to be a bridesmaid, just like she was for them. What is the actual F? That letter revived all kinds of old wounds. My therapist saw a significant increase in business as a result. Today I find it amusing, but later, not so much. I did not reply at all. The only thing I did was figure out which members of my extended family informed my ex-family about my address, and cut them off as well. This takes us to the most recent drama. Last week, Ethan, of all people, visited my apartment. Austin and I do not live together yet. But that will change soon. Ethan looked nice. Too good, as if he was attempting to present his best. I asked him when he arrived. "What do you want?" He responded, "I just want to talk. I'm so sorry for what I did. Emily and I are divorcing. I figured out she was unfaithful our whole marriage. Surprise, surprise. I don't expect you to take me back, but we should talk and get some closure for both of our sakes." I gave a double blink. He'd lost his mind. I gave him a straight face and replied, "No, I give you no closure. You made your own bed. Did you really think that golden hoe of hers, that has had more visitors than the Holiday Inn, was suddenly going to put up a no vacancy sign, just because you put a ring on it? You're even dumber than I thought. I forgive nothing. I want nothing from you. I don't care. I'm better off now, and that will always be the case. You can go to hell." Then I turned and returned to my apartment, locking the door behind me. I immediately contacted my landlord, the loveliest old lady in the world. I've grown close to her over the last 4 years, and she knows about my former marriage. Ethan was still lurking in the corridor. A few minutes later, her 2 nephews, who helped maintain the apartment grounds, arrived and informed Ethan that he was not welcome, and was on a forbidden list. If he returned, the police would be summoned for trespassing. I had hoped that was the last of it, but it wasn't. I now have a reasonably simple 9-to-5 work schedule, so I go to the restaurant practically every night Austin manages. I don't get in the way. I just hang there and take advantage of the few minutes he has available. I've made close friends with many of the staff, including many of Austin and Jack's family members, and it's truly the family setting I've always desired. I'm there the next night when Ethan walks in and sits down at my table. It was a slow Tuesday. Austin noticed and instantly walked over to check on me. He knew Ethan from the images I'd shown him. Ethan extended his hand to Austin. Austin just looked at it and asked, "Do you want me to kick him out?" I answered, "Not yet. I have a couple of questions." Ethan perked up as if he had won something. What a tool. I asked him to explain what happened between him and Emily. I'll admit it was just morbid curiosity. He informed us that she was having at least 2 affairs with married men. Old habits die hard, I suppose. It had been 2 years. "It was a tough time for me," he replied, his eyes rolling. I interrupted. "You are not that dumb though. Did you protect yourself, or did she get half of all your stuff?" With a smile, Ethan said, "I stuck it out almost another year with her so I could start stowing away savings and selling off some assets. In the end, she got a fraction of what she would have." "And what happened to her then?" I inquired. Ethan responded, "She had to move back in with your parents." Again, I was satisfied. "Yes, thank you. That's what I wanted to hear. You can go now." "Austin, you heard her. Out of my restaurant." Ethan attempted to object. "No, I want to—" I interrupted him. "No forgiveness, no closure. I just wanted to know my loser sister was back living at home. Get out." Austin stood and pointed to the door. Ethan looked around and noticed that the bartender and 2 waitstaff members were glaring at him. He stood, tucked his tail and turned towards the door. Austin began, "And if you ever come back?" Ethan instantly said, Yeah, I know. Cops trespassing." After he left, practically everyone checked on me. It was both pleasant and embarrassing. My beloved future in-laws phoned me. They demanded that I stay with Austin for the next few days just to be safe. It was very sweet. I've never had a family that looked after me so well. I did not hear from Ethan again, and I pray I never will. Update 3. Hello everybody. I did not expect it to happen, but I have another update for you. First, let me introduce myself. I am a 41-year-old mother of 2 boys, ages 6 and 2. Austin and I are doing quite well. I now work as a part-time office manager for the restaurant, and Austin's cousin, Samaya, invested in the business, and we launched a second location 3 years ago. It's been a lot more work, but with the three of them remaining highly committed in both places, we're successful. Plus, it allows each of them some personal time. It wasn't ideal, but I believe I became pregnant while living with Austin, after his parents demanded it following my previous posting. They now joke that they had always wanted to be grandparents, and it was all part of the plan. Now for an update. After the previous time Ethan found me, I figured it was only a matter of time before my parents or sister showed up. It didn't happen immediately. I relaxed a little since I felt I had a strong support structure in place, and I returned to social media. I maintained no touch with much of my family, including extended family, but I had no illusions that they would be unable to locate me if they tried. I did not receive my first message until after our first child was born. It was from my mother. She offered a half-hearted apology, mentioned forgiveness, and inquired about her grandchild. I was going to block her, but I felt the inference that my child was her grandchild offensive. My response was, "You do not have any grandchildren. I am not your daughter, and thus my children have no relation to you. If you want grandchildren, then you should encourage Emily to get out there and do what she does best." At that moment, I had blocked her. She created fresh accounts and attempted to contact me for a time, but I always denied or erased any requests or communications. This takes me to the recent drama. I was getting swamped with requests, texts, and other attempts to contact them. I read part of it, and it was a sob story about missing out on their grandchildren's lives and wanting to make amends. I honestly didn't care. I had no intention of including them in my life again. Then the most startling thing happened. Emily began reaching out to me. She wasn't saying much except that she really wanted to talk to me. After about 3 weeks, I consented to a Zoom meeting with just me and no kids. When it first started, people kept wanting to see the children. I was determined that it would not happen. They have 3 grandparents: Austin's mother, father, and grandmother. I was getting the impression that this was about something different. Emily looked dreadful, and my parents appeared old and worn. As we started talking, they all began apologizing for everything that had happened, even Emily. She admitted she was wrong to do what she did, and wished she could have her sister back. That was a ludicrous idea. Mom immediately took over, spewing her usual nonsense about being a family and looking out for one another. When she was finished, I simply looked at them and said, "Is that all you have? I'm going to leave." Then they yelled at me to wait, and the facade crumbled. The actual cause was soon to emerge. Apparently, Emily has been dealing with health challenges for the past few years. For whatever reason, her kidneys are failing, and she requires a transplant. That is why they were so persistent in contacting me. A family member is the most likely suitable match. I put it to them. "This is why you call me? You want me to save her after what she did? My husband wasn't enough. Now she needs a body part from me too?" My mother snapped. "Stop being like this. All of that was a long time ago." She began choking up and crying as she continued. "I get it. You hate us. But she is going to die if she doesn't get a transplant soon. Is that what you want? I know you think she wronged you in the worst way, but please, just this once, can we set that aside?" I became quiet. I wanted to see if they said anything else. At some point he began to speak. "Look, we're sorry for all that happened, but we have some pretty big problems. Between her medical bills and not being able to work, your mom and I are getting older and have our own problems. We've got a lot of issues. We need you to come back to Missouri and see if you are a match, but we also could use some help. Or we might lose the house." "So, you need my kidney and my money," I told you. "Don't put it like that," he said. Emily spoke up. "Please, just come home. I need my big sister. I don't want to die. Can you just come and see if you're a match? If you're not, we will never contact you again." I told them I'd think about it, do some research, and let them know tonight. Tomorrow I finished the call and proceeded to speak with my husband. He told me he supported me completely, no matter what I did, and then asked if we should all travel together, or if he should simply come. I said no to both. I was going on my own. Sure, here's the continuation, punctuated while leaving the original material intact. I informed my old family that I would receive lab results here in Minnesota, and if I was a match, I would come there and we could discuss everything else. Then, about a week later, I received the findings, and it appeared that Emily and I were an ideal fit. I agreed to return home to St. Charles. By the time I arrived, Emily had developed some problems and needed to be brought to the hospital. This got everyone off my back about meeting for dinner, because I had no intention of doing anything social with these people. Especially because whenever they appeared to have a free minute, my parents would ask whether I had considered assisting them with their financial difficulties. They were able to stabilize Emily. I went to meet with the doctors who would perform the transplant. They began going over everything with me, and I expressed my want to have this chat with everyone. We all went into Emily's room. My folks were already present. The doctor started outlining the scenario. Emily had about 6 more months without a transplant. They went over the procedure with us all, and emphasized how perfect a match I was, how unlikely it was to find a more viable donor, and how important it was that we schedule the surgery as soon as possible. I stepped over to Emily and grasped her hand. I looked at her with deep brown eyes and replied, "Did you hear that? I'm a perfect match. Essentially, I'm the only person who can save you, and I'm not going to. You are the most vile, narcissistic piece of gutter trash I have ever known. I only came here so you would know the one person who could keep you alive is the one person you have wronged the most, and now you're paying for that with your life. You're going to die. You should make peace with that." Emily burst into tears, and my parents turned to confront me. The doctor and nurse stood there in complete disbelief. I turned to my parents and warned them, "Don't even talk to me, and don't you dare ever ask me for anything ever again. The only money I would ever spend on you would be for your funeral, under the stipulation that you be cremated and the ashes released to me, at which point I will promptly deposit your remains in the dirtiest john I can find." I left the room without looking back. I am back home, surrounded by my true family, and I couldn't be happier.